What up, internet? We about to talk about LGBT. I don't think I've ever had a video titled LGBT Talks. I have obviously talked about LGBT before on my channel, but I have had a series of videos that were more frequent. They used to be more frequent than they are now, and I just uploaded one like the other day. It's my newest uploaded video when this comes out. It's another ASD talk. This is autism spectrum disorder, so why not title it about the same? Also, what up, t-shirt reference? Alright, I think this is just the best it's gonna have to get. Okay, so this is my first sit-downy video that I've done in about 2 months. Just a heads up on that. So I need to get back out of the vlogging train of mine right now and just talk. So something's been brought to my attention recently that I kind of wanted to address and put my own interpretation on how to feel about this set of people. Because most of the time, and if you can tell from this title, it's been brought to my attention that there is a belief about the LGBT community that I don't know how many people in the world have, but I know someone personally now who does have this belief. And I wanted to talk about belief is that, by the title you can probably tell, that anything LGBT is a mental illness. Now, this person that I'm talking about, I'm not going to give away their gender, well, their sex, because I don't believe in gender. I'm not going to go into their sex. I'm not going to go into, I mean, it's obvious that they're straight, or maybe they're confused. We don't know. I assume that this person is straight because of the way that they present themselves and their thinking about it and what they've said. They said that this is the only way that they can wrap their head around the LGBT. So, in my head, from what I've gathered, I believe this person is straight. I do not believe that they are questioning, but there are other people out there that could be questioning that have the same belief. This is coming from the belief that genetically all humans should want to further the population in the back of their mind. There should be that want to further the population in the back of your mind. Therefore, any kind of LGBT where you are having sex with the same sex and you cannot traditionally, because 2 women actually can conceive a child if there's bone marrow involved. Science knows what you're talking about. But in the belief that gay people and trans people cannot conceive. Trans people can conceive if, you know, all this other stuff is going on. And there are other ways to conceive and to want children. It's not saying that because you are in the LGBT community, lesbian, gay, bi, pansexual, demisexual, asexual, whatever, that you do not want to be a parent in some way, shape, or form, unless you are the complete version of a asexual, where you don't like affection, you do not want any kind of relationship at all, which, who knows, even those people, some of them could still want a child, they just do not want a relationship, and, you know, could stop them because single parents are not something most people choose to be. Most people tend to want to not do it all on their own and by themselves. And I can see why somebody would think this. This person says this is the only logical way to think about homosexuality and trans and anything in that particular rainbow of people, is that they are in some way mentally messed up to the normal human being and have some kind of mental disability because they do not want to have sex with the opposite gender, or they believe that they don't want to have sex with the opposite sex, or that they are the opposite sex, or that they identify as a different gender. I do have a mental disability, which I spoke about at the beginning of this video, because I usually do ASD talks, which is autism spectrum disorder talks, because at the end of 2015, specifically December 5th, I was diagnosed with high-functioning autism. Technically, I was just diagnosed with ASD, autism spectrum disorder. It doesn't say on paper whether or not it's high-functioning or low-functioning. There are some people who believe that it is high functioning, some people believe that it is mid to high functioning. It depends on the day, honestly. And when I was about 7, 8, I was diagnosed with ADHD, and I could go into a whole big video about why I wasn't diagnosed earlier with autism, because honestly I feel like I would have been in my personal situation, but that's aside the point. I was diagnosed as an adult because I sought my own help. Moving on. I don't know if I'm gonna leave that in. Anyway, so I do have a mental disability. Even if you wanna say that autism makes you work differently to a normal human being, it is a disability. Even if you want to say autism is a disability, that it's just the way your brain works, or there's some people that call it a disease. I would much rather call it a disability than a disease, because a disease makes it think that it can be cured. A disability is just something that you have, something that makes you different, something that makes your life harder compared to the normal human being, which makes you think, well, not makes you think, not makes me think, makes this person think that because LGBT is, gay, lesbian, bi, whatever, asexual, whatever, all these different words for things, all these different titles for just the way that you are, means that because it makes your life harder, he could be thinking in that prospect that because it makes your life harder, that it makes it a disability. So it makes it a mental disorder and a disability onto the person. Again, personally, I obviously don't believe that. I have a mental disability of my own. If you're not talking about autism, talking about ADHD, I don't give a fuck what anybody says. ADHD is 100% a disability, especially with my current job, because I get so distracted so easily. It is important. I know I'm being a hypocrite here. Get on medicine. Get on something. Do something that makes you be able to... There's a cat in the background. Can you see it? I really didn't feel it on purpose and get distracted. I'm just watching this cat in the background on the viewfinder. Sorry. Do something that makes it so you can concentrate more. My job actually requires my hands, so doing the whole fidgety thing with a fidget cube or a fidget spinner or whatever, I can't really do it my job to keep me thinking right. My job involves my hands at all times. So in my humble opinion, from somebody with a disability, whether you're talking about autism or ADHD, it's not a disability. It's not a mental disorder. And I know that it used to be treated that way, and that could be another reason why one person might believe that way, because that is the way that it used to be believed. They used to get sent off to treatment centers and have these horrible, horrible things done where it was like shock therapy and mostly the conversion therapy, where they would have somebody touch themselves while looking at the opposite gender, and then when they were looking at the same gender, which they were attracted to, they would inflict pain on the person, which could be shock, could be pin needles, could be anything that might cause pain to the patient. So with that kind of therapy that has been proven to never ever ever work, just kind of fuck somebody up forever, there are people, again, that could believe that it is a disorder, that you are wrong, and that there's something wrong with you to believe that. And I cannot fault this person for ignorance. I cannot hate this person, because charismatically this person is great. I live in a very rural area, as you can tell. I love it. I don't love it because of the people, I love it because of nature, because I am a very nature-oriented person. I mostly about trees and plants and the environment more than animals. I do love animals, but we're gonna go back on topic. And there's been no proof that there's anything mentally wrong with someone who is just as stable as a straight person than as a gay person. There's been no proven studies. I've done my research. There have been no proven studies that there's anything wrong, there's anything different with their brain other than the person they are attracted to. So I am not in the belief that it is a mental disorder. Also, I have mental disabilities and disorders. I know what they feel like. that's not one. And you know, somebody could argue with me who does believe in this thing that, you know, you don't know the difference between one another. You don't know how this would affect you and how this would feel, and I assure you that I do know. Being said, does it make me fucked up in the head that I don't want to have sex with somebody just to further the population? There are also some theorists out there that believe that, you know, evolution as an LGBT person has happened because biologically somehow we know that the world is overpopulated, and this is, you know, an answer to that. Some people out there believe that the homosexuality is God's answer. The ones that are not homophobic believe that it is God's answer to overpopulation. Do I believe this? No. I believe it's a certainly interesting idea biologically for that theory to be true, but do I believe it is God's answer? No. Because I don't believe in the Christian God. However, you know, I think it is a very natural and important thing to talk about is how other people believe, how other people look at homosexuality. I don't know if I would classify this person as homophobic because of what, you know, in the past, because I've told them this person is very rude about the fact that I identify as a gender, saying that people like me that like ruin YouTube and that like I'm one of those people because I'm neither gender. This person didn't specifically say anything bad about transgender people, besides the fact that he thinks that they have a mental disorder. Just more that the cat's walking over there again. Really hateful about them, just hateful about me because I identify as neither. Which is again something I don't talk about too much anymore, because there's nothing really I can do to further make myself any more clear about feeling like I'm neither. And honestly, I also don't feel like that's a disorder. That's not something that affects me in my everyday life that makes it hard for me to live. I mean, it has caused depression, sure, but that's because of the way that I developed as a person who was born female. Because I have gigantic boobs that I hate very much, that I wish I could just chop off. And that is the only way that has affected me in a negative way, is that it makes me hate myself. But as soon as, you know, I have enough money and I can get them chopped off because they are rather large, maybe I can convince somebody that it needs to happen medically because of the effect it's having on my back, because I do have scoliosis. But that's, you know, for future stuff. Maybe an insurance company can get behind that just because of the effect it has on my scoliosis back. Because it does make my back hurt, but my back hurts at all times anyway. Just, you know, it ranges from mild to horrific. But that, you know, being agender is just who I am. I don't see it as a disorder, but and it doesn't really make me different from anybody else. I don't get offended when people, you know, call me the wrong gender, because I've got gigantic knockers. They're gonna call me the wrong gender. They're gonna misgender me. Nobody in the world, especially in this rural area, is going to gender me correctly. So I don't get offended. I'll be like, did you just assume my gender or whatever? And like, that stuff doesn't offend me because my gender is neither. Nobody can assume neither on anybody. I'm sorry. They can be confused about somebody's gender, but nobody can assume neither. My shaved hair. Like, he knew that I was neither because of my shaved hair. That one I don't understand, but that's beside the point. I mean, and I still wear dresses and skirts. If I could go over my gender again, it would be that I don't feel like a female or a male, and I feel like I'm neither, and I don't need to conform to anybody just because I wear dresses and just because I want to grow my hair out. Not this bit's staying shaved. I mean, I love the length of my hair is now, but I miss all the things I could do with it when it was long, so I want to grow it out. I don't want to grow it out to be more feminine, and growing it out doesn't make me feel more feminine. Wearing makeup doesn't make me feel more feminine, but I don't wear makeup on a regular basis because, yeah, I don't want to. I'm lazy. But I also don't feel like I need to make myself feel better or to, you know, up my self-esteem. It's not something I need. The only thing at this point that would up my self-esteem is if I lost the boobies. But, you know, I don't, like, I can look at the things that are wrong with me. Mental disorder, mental disability, or not. I can look at them and tell it distinctly apart from LGBT. I do not fault somebody who is ignorant, who doesn't know enough about it, who hasn't done enough research to believe that. That is ignorant at its best. Ignorance at its best. Ignorance at its worst would be like physically attacking me. Verbally attacking me and my agender is, you know, fine by me as long as they're not attacking anybody else. It doesn't hurt me if you talk about it to me, you know? What hurts me is when you attack other people. There's a lot of things wrong with me, but the LGBT side of it isn't one of them. What it's done to my psyche and like causing depression and junk like that might be part of it, but it itself is not a mental disorder. There's been no proof of it. There's been no anything to prove otherwise. It is an outdated thought process that a closed-minded individual wants to have, maybe because they're afraid that they are, or I don't know. Maybe because they're afraid that they are, maybe they're afraid of these people, maybe they've had bad experiences in the past, I don't know. And if it's the only way that they can wrap their head around it without being physically and emotionally demeaning against someone like that, it's fine. It's just, to my knowledge, to my belief, to my research, nothing has come up to stick about that. Which means I firmly do not believe that. But I mean, anybody who knows me in any capacity could know. Like from my Instagram, from Facebook, from real life, would know. Obviously, I don't believe in that sort of thing. Someone outside of that, you know, they might not know. They just assume by my shaved hair because I look very liberal. And I am. I'm sorry. It's just the way it is. I don't think that this is an accurate way of believing, but if an ignorant person who doesn't know any better believes this way and isn't abusive to anybody about it, I don't think it hurts anything. It's not the worst thought of believing. It's not the worst way to believe, and it's not the worst way to act about that situation. So I'm not going to try to stop this person. I'm not going to try and get them to believe otherwise. This discussion was more or less about, you know, how to deal with this person. If you don't like this person, ignore them. If you work with them, that's too bad. Work with them as much as you can be. Work with them at work and ignore them outside of work. Don't talk about anything but work. Do not let it get to that point where it bothers you. Stay away from this person if that's what you want. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter how you feel about the situation. I mean, it does matter how you feel. It doesn't matter how you handle the situation as long as you do it in a non-violent way and you do it in a healthy way for you and the person, and you just ignore them. As long as they're not doing anything harmful to anybody, you ain't gotta take it to your boss, you ain't gotta take it to like police officers. If it's, you know, physical harm, then, you know, of course, take it to whoever is in charge of this person and you, and go with it from there. But if you can ignore them and they don't make you feel victimized too much, do it. It's just an ignorant person's way of believing and an ignorant person's way of thinking about the world. It's 2017. There's not too much you can do to change somebody's mind.
This is rocking. Let's not. I'm so afraid of this falling. Oh my god. The wind is not doing this. Oh my god. There's a lot of editing that's gonna have to happen. Just saying.
Do have a Oh,
it hurts to sit on the grass. I'm not gonna lie. I thought about sitting on this, but I decided against it in the end. Anyway, Concentrate on the task at hand.